So welcome back. Welcome to our fourth night of Called to Change, Finding Life's Purpose. Our uh, our approach to this has been essentially believing that there's no better time in our lives now, and in with all the stuff going on in our world and in our community, to take a deeper look into ourselves and seek spiritual growth, seek to understand the ways that God is beckoning us to align our lives with what God is doing in the world. And we recognize that sometimes we discover our calling through experiences of joy and celebration, and in particular in relationships, and that's what our session tonight is all about. But also through our experiences of difficulty, challenge, or loss. And I know that some of you, most of you, knew John Manson, and some of you knew him well. And I want us to simply recognize that we mourn the loss of John, who passed away yesterday morning, and it makes me wonder, what is God up to when we lose someone like that? And but we trust that God is beckoning, God is calling, um, and so this series, these 8 Thursdays, are all about discovering deeper meaning and purpose for our lives, and recognizing that we will likely encounter God along the way. Um, so our calendar, our sequence of themes looks like this, and the first 3 sessions, October 1, 8, and 15, they are posted on the website, and you'll find a link to that on the Sunday page. Tonight, we're focused on relationships, and Jennifer Winslow and Kathy Brown are going to lead us through that. As you know, the meat of the content that we present comes from a really good website that's anchored in the C3 project, creating a culture of calling, and the website is called allcalled.org. And we really encourage you to go there, check it out. There's, with each of these 8 topics, there's more material there than what we're exploring on our Thursday nights. And and this is our team. So Jennifer and Kathy are leading us tonight, and Kate and Mary Lynn will be leading us next week. So Kathy, that's my introduction.
Okay.
So we're ready to jump into relationships.
Okay. So away we go. Welcome to everybody. I'm really glad to see all of you here. And I said this earlier, Leaf is kind of a hard act to follow, but we're forging ahead and going to give it our best shot tonight. So we're focusing tonight on the calling that happens through relationships. And that's basically, it's who comes into our life that might be the greatest influence on what our life becomes. And that might be parents, teachers, mentors of any kind, bosses, religious people. It's just, we just think that our significant relationships help us to become the people we are called to be. And they help us succeed, and they help us grow and hopefully become better people while we're doing that. The significant relationships in our life help us discover who we are and what we are meant to do in life. They help us discover our sense of purpose and hopefully our gifts and our callings. It is, I think, probably the single most important thing we do in this life is make relationships with others.
Ooh, now we're going to watch a couple of videos that tell stories of two young men and their calling stories. And then I'm also going to share my own calling story about the power of relationships and discovering a calling. So Leif, you want to roll the first video? In the first video, a young man by the name of Kiefer uses his background in his job as a congressional aide to reach out to constituents, building trust and forming relationships with them.
Growing up, my mom was a lobbyist and my dad was a pastor. So I grew up around faith and public service. I now work as a congressional aide in the office of a congressman in Greensboro, and I've really enjoyed that. I'm a field representative, so I get to travel all around our district, meeting new people, making new friends. I feel that God's calling is most strong upon me when I'm connecting people with solutions, with people that care about them. So when we value them, we value their input and their stories, and we bring that to other people who value their input and stories. I think we're really doing something special. Day in and day out, people want to feel like they're being listened to. They want to have that sense of community. They want to know that somebody cares about them. I didn't realize how important caring was until I started to do it myself. Caring for someone, really validating their sense of worth as an image bearer, giving sacrificially of your own time, effort. That means a lot to people. We often run into problems because it's so easy in the political realm to give in fully to that desire to defeat your enemies, to conquer the foe, to dismantle your opponent's arguments, when instead it's more valuable, I think, to enter into a loving relationship with them, to show them that we care about your values as well. We're not so far apart. We might have different ideas on how these things are to be done, but at the end of the day, we want the same things. So the thing for me now in accepting the future that God has for me is learning to trust in Him first and foremost. And then following my passions too, because God has created me with passions, and those passions will lead me to whatever future that He holds for me.
So that was Kiefer, and I just really think he needs to be president someday. He's awesome and really is living his calling. The next young man is Mohammed, and he's a Syrian refugee who arrived in Canada, and he now has a job helping others who are walking the same path that he once walked.
I wanted to become a doctor, to treat cancer, to make this world a better place. I completed 4 years in the Faculty of Medicine in Homs, Syria. But as any other Syrian, life had other plans for me. The war just stopped everything. After surviving imprisonment and relentless torture just for demanding my basic human rights, I made the decision to flee the country. In 2014, Canada welcomed Syrian refugees for the first time ever, 28 of which came to BC, and I was one of them. I am a resettlement assistance program counselor at ISS of BC Welcome Center. In my position, I help newly arrived government-assisted refugees to resettle in Canada, providing first language services to assist in preparing for their new lives. After that, I follow up with each case up to 1 year to make sure that all support needed is being provided. I have helped more than 90 refugee families to settle in Canada. A few months ago, one of the families that I helped is a family of 4 that came from Syria. They are having a beautiful life here right now. We have to be the guide, we have to be the mentor, the advisor, the doctor. We have to be the smiling face.
Can you grab me a one? I can't reach. Yeah, of course. I can't reach.
Mohammed needed a place to live, and we met and instantly felt good about each other. Having Mohammed here is very humbling. It helps us to appreciate more than ever how lucky we are. Our goal here is not to replace his parents. Our goal is to help him be independent.
Looking back at the last 2 years, I feel that I am home. I have a really lovely girlfriend. I have lots of people in my life that I consider family. It's really important to understand the experiences of the people that I'm helping because I've been there before, so I know how it feels like. I wanted to become a doctor, to treat cancer and change people's lives. The way that I look at it, right now, I am doing the exact same thing. I am changing the world. At the end of the day, I come back home and I think about how many people that I helped, how many lives that I changed. I have the most wonderful job in the world.
Yeah, so that was a really great story. And it sounds like not only has he found his calling, but like the people he moved in with, they've found their calling, helping him. So it kind of spreads outward. And a lot of times that's the case. So this is my story. Some of you may have heard it before. I hope I'm not going to bore everybody to death, but here it is. In February of 2014, I retired after working for 35 years in the insurance industry. After letting my newfound freedom and routine settle into place, I started feeling like I needed to get involved in something that would benefit others. I tried several things, but I didn't find anything that was just the right fit. While talking with a longtime friend, she made a comment telling me she thought I was good at budgeting and managing money. I had always handled the finances in our family, and I felt like I was able to keep the ship afloat. I thought about her words. Shortly thereafter, I saw an ad in the church bulletin that Catholic Charities was looking for a volunteer financial coach, or actually coaches. I thought about it and I decided to investigate. It seemed like it might be just what I was looking for, so I went through their training and I became a financial coach. In the 5 years since, I've worked with everyone from a woman who was a step above homelessness and several who were so affected by staggering debt that they saw no way out. I've also coached a woman who is a published author and a young man who is an entrepreneur whose family recipe is now sold at New Seasons and other grocery stores in the area. Their ages ranged from their early 20s through their mid 70s, many different ethnic backgrounds and religions. It has been interesting and rewarding and a great way to spend my time, and I feel like I've made a difference in their lives. I don't think any of this would have happened if my friend had not made that comment. She recognized a potential calling in me that I don't think I would have thought about were it not for her words. I really believe that the people who know you best can be the spark that leads you towards finding your purpose. So, we have a question. And this question is something we're going to answer as a group. So after I read the question, I'll basically let you guys answer. So who are your most trusted relationships and how do they influence your life? Actually, there's 2 questions. I was wrong. And who has helped you recognize your gifts? Anybody want to take a shot?
Don't all go at once.
A tough question.
A tough question?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Dixon
Take a
thought.
little bit of
anyway.
okay, all right.
Well, I'll share. This is Marilee. My sister Judy was 5 years older than I am, and she did pass away in 2011. But in my when I first started in college is when the relationship began to blossom. And she's always been that person in my life who could help adjust my attitude by just herself. She was a very caring, loving, generous person. She could be really irritating and always was, but my entire adult life, she would be that person, my go-to person if I was, going down a deep hole. All I had to do was call Judy and she would just have her effect on me. And now that she's gone, she's more like that, shining star in the sky that I trust in sometimes. But I find myself lacking that anchor in my life without her around.
God. It's hard to lose somebody that's so influential.
Yeah.
My uncle was a big influence on my life. When I graduated from high school, I didn't know, I knew I was going to apply to college, but I didn't really have a job other than babysitting. And he had just started his own marketing firm. And he said, "Hey, Trace, why don't you come and just help out for a couple weeks and, type letters, answer the phone for me, and just try it out and see if this an office environment is something that you'd be interested in." And I remember I was still, of course, living at home, and I remember dragging myself home. I was traveling to downtown Portland on Max. Max had just opened, and we lived out in Gresham at the time, and I got home that first day and I thought, oh, I just could never, I don't see how I can do this for a long term. And that his offer to me got me on my path to where I ended up being his bookkeeper. And then it just was my stepping stone into business that I needed. And I lost him. Gosh, he's been gone 15 years now. And I miss his guidance big time, but I will always be grateful. And I always told him how grateful I was to have him, because who knows where I would have ended up without him giving me a chance.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, Tracy.
Sure. Thank you.
How people can do that for you.
Well, this is Verna, and I would like to say that one of the people that really influenced me was my dad. Started quite young. He taught me that it was okay to question authority, because I can remember sitting around the radio listening to politics and stuff. And, he'd be there kind of coaching. So, and that has lasted me forever. And the other thing that he taught me was how to let it all go and just go play. Just have fun. Just enjoy your life. So, yeah, he was a big influence. He died in 1964.
Wow. What a valuable gift.
So it's been a long time.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Person who influences me still the most is my mother.
Mm.
And I get emotional when I talk about her, but she's in the twilight of her life. She'll be 98 in December. And I took her to the doctor last week, and she has a mass in her abdomen. So I don't know how much longer she'll be with us.
Mm.
But I think back to when our girls were teenagers. Some of you know how that is. And she was the person that I could share with, the person I could talk about what was going on in my life and how I was responding to it. And I think she's the one who helped me recognize my gifts. When I told her how I had responded to various situations, she would say, the Holy Spirit was with you. So she helped me get through difficult times. I still talk to her every day. And yeah, she's one of my most trusted relations.
Wow, that's really beautiful, Sally. Thank you for sharing it. Wish your mother well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, please give your mother our love.
Yeah.
Please.
Thank you, I will.
I was thinking as you were talking that there are many people like your mother whom I miss, and I didn't realize I would miss them until now that we can't see them. And Kate, I think of your mom as well, and some of our next generation elderly people.
Yeah, we loved your mom, Sally. We love her. I miss seeing her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think I can ever bring her back to church. She is just, she's
No.
so frail. She's very frail. I wouldn't be able to, unless I could park right outside the church, I wouldn't be able to bring her. So she does miss going to mass.
Yeah.
And she misses having the pastor that her assisted living looks to, who used to come and say mass, used to be Father Bob. She does miss St. Charles very much.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, I have a story that goes back to the way back. When I started high school, my parents had just divorced. My mom had had a nervous breakdown and wasn't working. So we were kind of hanging on by our fingernails financially. And so the first time my high school counselor called me into her office, she asked me what I wanted to do with my life. And I told her I didn't know. And seeing as how there were 3,000 people going to Grant at that time, she kind of said, okay, well, I'll see you again. And then my sophomore year, when I went in, she looked at my grades, which were good. And she said, you need to go to college. And I said, I can't. There's no money in my family. My dad isn't paying alimony or child support, and there's no way I can do that. And she said, can you keep your grades at the level they are now? And I said, well, I'm certainly going to try. And she said, you do that and I'll get you into a college. And so I did that. And when it came to my senior year, and we were looking at colleges, I, of course, started looking at the U of O and Oregon State. And she said, no, honey. She said, they have only so much money and they have to distribute it among a lot of people. So they don't give very big scholarships, and you need a full ride. So she had me start applying to small liberal arts colleges up and down the West Coast and the East Coast. And I was able to obtain full ride scholarships to one college on the East Coast, Smith, and two on the West Coast, Whitman in Walla Walla and Mills down in California. And what we decided is if I went to Whitman, I didn't have to travel. I could go by car. I could still come home to see my mom. If I went to one of the other two colleges, I probably wouldn't be able to do it. So I decided on Whitman, and I spent 4 years there. I graduated with a liberal arts degree in English and a teaching degree. I had 4 of the best years of my life, and I owe it all to Mrs. Clark, because she mentored me and she helped me and she had faith in me. And that was the most important thing.
Well, a lot of dedication there. That's wonderful. Thanks, Kathy. Anybody else want to share?
I have one that predates Kathy's time. Mine goes back to age 5. Teaching has been what I've done through my life. And when I was in 1st and 2nd grade, I had a teacher by the name of Helen Davidson. And I was young, I was only 5. In 1st and 2nd grade. And I had so many wonderful memories, her coming down to see my chickens and eating a bite out of an apple when I said, "Do you want an apple, Miss Davidson?" And I'd already taken a bite out of it. And I was young and little, and I think she took a special interest, but so many wonderful stories. And she left the school the year when I moved out of 2nd grade and I moved to a different school. So that was when I was 5 and 6, and then transferred much later to 1980. And I never forgot her. And I think she was my inspiration for always wanting to be a teacher. And I had a friend, this was in Ohio, I had a friend who came into town who was doing genealogy work on his family. And I'm telling him about her. He called me one day at school and said, "Call this number. This is Miss Davidson's sister." So I called this number and I gave her my name and I said, "I'm trying to reach Helen Davidson." And I went to, and the sister said, "Forest Hill School." I said, "Yes." She said, "Just a minute, she's upstairs." Helen had moved to Florida with her husband. And I invited her to lunch. And we had the most wonderful lunch, me telling her the things that I remembered from when she was a brand new teacher herself. So then I said, "I'd like to take you to my school," which was not far away. And so we walked down the hallway of the school, and there was a girl getting a drink at the drinking fountain. And I said to the girl, "I'd like you to meet Miss Davidson." She had a different name at that time. She was my 1st grade teacher. And the girl looked at Miss Davidson and said, "You don't look that old." I appreciated that. Anyway, we were able to correspond in writing. She went back to Florida. She was there because her husband had died, and she had come up from Florida for the memorial and things like that. So she went back, and we corresponded by letters, perhaps for a year, and her writing got worse and worse. And then finally, I learned it. But she just in my very young life had just made such a impression on me of what a teacher should be, and practically a mommy.
What a sweet memory.
Yeah.
Okay. Kathy, you're up.
Okay. Well, from the stories we've heard, we see that God does work through others to call us. And most people say they first experience a sense of calling through another person. Family, friends, or mentors highly influence our choices in life. And the discernment of your gifts and capacities for living your calling begin when others around you notice and call them forth. I think sometimes we really don't always see in us what others see in us. We are utterly dependent on each other to become who we are, to hear God's calling and to respond. People closest to you are the most significant factors in the calls you follow and the choices that you make. If you are struggling to figure out what God is calling you to or for, then it would behoove you to listen to God's call through the people around you. God works through these others to call us. And so might God be speaking through the people you trust and who care about you to help you discover your calling. Think about how these significant people in your life would answer these 4 questions. And how can you listen attentively to the voices of trusted relationships? So the 4 questions that are on your screen: how would a friend describe me in a few words? What am I doing when I'm at my best? What gifts do I possess? Have I ever sensed God working through me? And what were the circumstances? So what I'd like you to do with those 4 questions is journal. You can answer 1, you can answer 2, you can answer all 4. However you want to tackle these questions. And it's entirely up to you what you write and how you write it. So I'm just going to invite you now to spend some quiet time journaling and using these 4 questions as your guide.
So are we going to do about maybe 10 minutes?
Yeah, probably. About 10, 12 minutes.
Oh.
we have about 4 minutes. Kathy, you're up.
Okay, hopefully this was helpful for you, thinking about the people that you know best. But remember, we not only need the people who are going to encourage us, but we also need those people who are going to challenge us, because their voices are the ones that help you to become the person that you're called to be. It has to be not just all sweetness and light. There has to be meat to what they say. There has to be challenge in what they tell you are your strengths. I think that when we sometimes wonder, especially at this point in my life, what I'm supposed to be doing, I do check with the people in my life. I am so lucky to have longtime friendships with several women who have mentored me and stood by me and guided me through the last several years. And it is to them I go when I'm feeling that my feet aren't underneath me, and ask them, you know, what is it that I might not be seeing in myself that they see? And so the life purpose and calling you're looking for is found in those people in your life and in the hearts and minds of people who are closest to you and know you better than anyone else. So just keep that in the forefront of your thinking when you're thinking about finding your purpose and your calling.
Great. Thanks, Kathy. So now we're going to break into small groups, and we just want to discuss the following question. How might the voices of the significant relationships in your life help you to discover your calling? So just take some time and make sure everybody in your group gets a chance to share. And I think we'll take, what, 7 or 8 minutes? Leaf, is that what we usually do?
You know, probably a little more than that. I think
Yeah.
if we go a little longer, that's fine. I think I'll make 3 groups. So there'll be about 4 people in each group. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that sounds good. And will you time it out for us then,
Yeah.
please?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, perfect.
Here come the groups, and the computer decides who you're with.
Okay.
Just so you know.
So does everybody have the question.
Yeah, the question will disappear when you go into your group. So take note of that. How might the voices of the significant relationships in my life help me discover my calling? Okay, groups are being created. Here you go.
Does anybody have anything that they learned or gleaned from their small group that they'd like to share with the larger group?
Yeah, I'd like to say something that struck me, what Jenny said about, we think of calling and like, it's like this one big calling, like you're going to do one thing, but there's little callings all the way along to do different things at different times in your life.
That's true. Yeah.
That's very true.
I like that.
And that we learn more from the challenges, those that we're given. You know, somebody say, hey, can you do this? And I go, no, I can't do it. Don't. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And you come out the other end and you did something.
It's kind of like tonight.
What's
We
that?
stepped up to do this. It's like, we can't do that. We can't do that. And it's like,
You did great.
Yes,
You can.
you can.
good. Anyway, anybody else have anything that was shared in their group?
I would just say we're all in this together.
Yes, I was just going to say that. I was in Ruth's group, and the four of us really are missing not only St. Charles and our St. Charles community, but just contact, you know. It's, I mean, we're talking about relationships here, and this is a really difficult time to have those.
Yeah.
Yes.
It takes extra nurturing, that's for sure.
It does.
Yeah.
But it's
There's a lot more strain and stress in our relationships too.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Especially if you're, 24/7 in the house with them.
Yeah.
Out loud.
But sometimes being 24/7 with myself gets really tiresome.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
We're arguing.
Yeah.
Nobody else to yell at.
We need to get a dog. Okay. So now we're going to go into the embrace portion of the program, which is kind of leading us towards the closing. And so I have a reading. So just kind of take a deep breath and listen. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own will. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. 1 Corinthians. And yeah.
There's a song, it's a beautiful song actually, with a video. It's called Love Will Never Fail. And Jennifer and I would like it if you could listen to that now.
Love is patient, love is kind. It has no arrogance or pride. It seeks the good of others first. It keeps no record of wrong or hurt. It finds no joy in wickedness, but rejoices in the truth. And through it all it will endure. Love will never fail. Love will never, never fail. Love will never, never fail. Love will never, never fail. Love will never fail. Though all prophecy will cease, though all knowledge it will fade, no an end will come to speech. Even death will pass away. We will see you face to face, and your mercy will prevail. Faith and hope, they will remain. Oh, love will never fail. Love will never, never fail. Love will never,
Beautiful.
I thought that was a really beautiful song. Just gorgeous.
Day.
Now, if Leaf can put the prayer up on the slide, I'd like us, I know it gets kind of garbled and disjointed, but let's all say this prayer together. God of all callings, I come
Come to you today
in
in
gratitude
gratitude
for the
for the
people
people
of
of
my
my
life.
family,
Family,
friends,
colleagues,
colleagues,
mentors,
enrich
to
my
enrich my
my
life
life
in
in ways
ways I
that I am
incredibly
incredibly
thankful
thankful
for.
for.
They call
They
They
call
call
for
forth
the
the
best
best
in
in
me.
me.
They
They
encourage
encourage
me.
me.
They
They
challenge
challenge me.
They
Help me to listen
to
to their
voices
voices
so
so
that
that I
I
may
may
discern what
discern
I am
what I am
supposed to be
doing
doing in my life.
Help me
To see
they are
what
calling
they are calling
out
out
in
in
me
me
that
I
I
don't see in
in
myself.
myself.
May I
I daily
come
come to you
in prayer.
Thank you
Thank you
for all the
for all the
relationships
relationships
in my
in my life.
Yes.
And ask that you be present
and
and at work in each of them. Strengthen the bonds
I
I have
my
with
loved
my
one.
loved ones.
Open
Open
my
my
eyes
eyes
to
to
new
new
relationships
relationships
I
I
can
can
be
be
making
making
And
and new people I can connect
with. Amen.
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 And I have one thing I want you to think about this coming week. And I'm going to start by reading a verse from Matthew. A city built on a hill cannot be hidden. No one lights a lamp and puts it under a bowl. Instead, he puts it on the lampstand where it gives light for everyone in the house. In the same way, your light must shine before people so that they will see the good things you do and praise your Father in heaven. So this week, I would love it if you could reflect on what friends and family have told you are your strengths, your light that should not be hidden. And think about how those strengths can be put to good purpose. And thank you all for coming tonight.
Thank you,
Thank
Kathy and
you.
Jennifer.
Yes,
This was
yes, it was
great.
excellent.
leading.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Good to be together.
Yeah.
Yeah.